Watch and burn.
Hey everyone, so tonight I want to discuss Confessions of a Superhero. This was a documentary that was done by Matthew Ogens back in around 2005, 2006. I know it came out right around then too. I think it was around 2007 that this was actually released. I ended up seeing this for the first time around 2013, give or take, and I'd watched it again a couple nights back. That's why I felt compelled to make this video. Now this movie, it focuses on 4 regular people who dress up like their favorite superheroes in order to make money, sort of working from tips for posing with photographs, or for posing for photographs, sorry, with tourists on like Hollywood Boulevard and by super famous places in Los Angeles. And it profiles Christopher Dennis. He is, of course, sort of the main focus of this movie, and he is the most famous one, or the most famous superhero profiled here. And then there's Maxwell Allen. He plays Batman. And then there's Joseph McQueen. He's the Hulk. And fucking Jesus, Jennifer Wenger. She plays Wonder Woman. And it's really just a movie about them struggling and trying to make it as actors while they're sort of posing for pictures and making money off tips while pretending to be their favorite superheroes. And the movie opens up with Christopher Dennis, who's Superman. He says that, you know, Hollywood is where dreams are made and dreams are broken. And unfortunately for Christopher Dennis, the Hollywood dream was always broken for him. He passed away back in 2019. He was homeless yet again. Now, Christopher Dennis has had a history of being homeless on again, off again due to his use or love of speed. And so apparently the story goes he was digging through a clothing donation bin. He'd been using his girlfriend's wheelchair and some sort of like rope or something as some sort of fishing mechanism. And he was trying to fish out clothing when he went in head first and suffocated back in 2019. So Christopher Dennis is no more. And a little while prior to that, he was on the news again because apparently somebody had beaten him half to death with a golf club, smashed in his teeth, and took his Superman outfit, which of course really impacted his income. And there was a Kickstarter set up and he made $8 grand off that, which is really good because he was able to buy another Superman costume, sorry. But the downside here is that Christopher Dennis has a history of sort of storytelling, according to the people that knew him best. It seems like he always lost his Superman costume whenever he was high, or so the story would go. He tells a number of stories throughout the course of the film about who he's related to and where he comes from, and I'm just not sure about the authenticity of the things that Christopher Dennis says. But I suppose, too, it's not a good idea to speak ill of the dead, so we'll just move on. The other people featured in here, of course, now Wonder Woman being Jennifer Wenger, the Wonder Woman. She's the most normal person here. She wants to make it as an actress, and she's sort of like posing for, you know, pictures and getting tips and shit, sort of in between. Throughout the course of the documentary, she gets married, and her marriage falls apart because they sort of got married a little quickly. And as I understand it, she married Casper Van Dien in 2018. So she's doing pretty good. So that's cool. And it does seem that Jennifer Wenger was the one who seemed to be the most stable out of all of them. So I'm really glad to see that she seems to be leading a happy and productive life with Casper Van Dien. He's a good-looking guy. So she did well. But this movie is just really sad. It's just people who are constantly down on their luck, who are pretty much having to resort to panhandling, like, you know, in order to make money. I know that they say that they work for tips, but the businesses don't love them and the police don't love them because they are just sort of seen as more panhandling. There's rules that they have to follow. They can't scare the tourists. They can't solicit for tips. They can't like say, you're not getting my picture unless I get a 5 spot in my hand first. Shit like that. And now, as far as the other two, the Hulk and Batman, Jesus Christ, you could do a video on each of them. At first, the Hulk, he's Joseph McQueen. You kind of You have a lot of sympathy for him because you find out that he was homeless and that when he was going to his auditions, he always had to bring everything with him. And at one audition, he got laughed at, and you can see the hurt in his face. And so you really sympathize with him because I believed him the most. Next to Christopher Dennis, who I did believe quite a bit as well. I believed Joseph McQueen's story of hardship a little more, because it just seemed like Dennis was too in and out and kind of all over the place with his past. But Joseph McQueen, he said that he got to LA right in the middle of the Rodney King riots. So he was like, Jesus, this was like a really eye-opening experience. And towards the end of the documentary, or pretty much at the end of the documentary, he gets a part in a movie called Finishing the Game that had James Franco in it from a number of years back. So he was really psyched about that. So at least on the surface, Joseph McQueen seemed to be the nicest, but I tracked down an article that Vice did, or an interview, that Vice did with the director, Matt Ogens, and he said that Wonder Woman, Jennifer Wenger, she was the normal one, and the other three were kind of like a complete nightmare. And he said that Joseph McQueen, he was like the worst, because Joseph expected to get rich off this documentary and start to get like lots of parts and lots of movies. And when it didn't happen, he kept looking to the director as looking for a reason why. And he wouldn't let up. And the director said in the interview that it just got sketchier and sketchier. So he cut ties with him. And apparently McQueen and Allen, Batman and Hulk, both believed that the director got rich off this movie and he was supposed to share the profits with them, even though he clearly didn't get rich off this documentary. So I don't know. And Jesus Christ, Batman, Maxwell Allen, this guy's the textbook definition of a storyteller. He looks a little like George Clooney, and this is addressed at several points throughout the course of the documentary, but he's like George Clooney if George Clooney was homeless. And he's got these bullshit stories about how he went to work for Italian men with long Italian names and how he was an enforcer and he had to kill people and he understood the world of guns and pit fighting through illegal martial arts bouts that you quickly find out he's lying about, because they show him taking a karate class, and I'm guessing this is some white belt shit, and he can't keep up. And then he goes to a range to shoot a gun, and he doesn't look comfortable firing the 9mm Beretta at all. And all the while Batman talks, it's always, I was a gangster this, I was a gangster that, I had to break this kneecap, I had to fucking crush this guy's skull in the ring, and I'm like Bruce Lee. And then the documentary conveniently shows footage of how he's not a martial artist, or he's not proficient with all kinds of weapons. Oh God, this movie's a fucking train wreck. But that is what makes this so compelling, is that the people in it are so human, and they're so broken, and they just want better for themselves, and they just want a part of the Hollywood dream so badly. And other than Wonder Woman, when I saw this documentary originally, I thought maybe she stood a chance. But the other three, you just knew it wasn't going to happen for them. And it's incredibly sad. But in the case of McQueen and Allen, they're not necessarily the most stable people. So I can't see, Brad Pitt wanting to work with them in a movie. But yeah, look, I rambled again. This motherfucker is way too long. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for close to 10 minutes while I discussed Matt Ogens' 2007 documentary, Confessions of a Superhero. Like always, if you liked this review, despite its length, don't forget to do something nice for somebody. But most importantly, don't forget that the world is a better place because you are in it. Have a good night. I just wanted to say thank you for making it through the entire video. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to remind everyone one more time, even though I've probably already done this in the video that you just watched, to please click the like button as well as the subscribe button, because it helps this channel grow. And thank you for hitting like and subscribe, and we will see you guys really soon.